Hey everybody, my name is Lawrence Green. I made a documentary called Kinks, Locs, and Love several years ago. It primarily highlights Black women with natural hair in the Washington, D.C. and Baltimore area. Let's check out and see what some of the ladies are up to now.
I retired, so I left a very structured environment, management structure, non-inclusive sort of environment, where I began my Loc experience, and I became an independent consultant. And so my clientele was primarily people of color, Black people in particular. So I had an opportunity to be around lots of people who embraced the Loc experience, and between professional conversations, we'd also kind of complement each other and embrace each other's natural hair and exchange tips on care and things like that. So I moved into a more inclusive environment.
So the last time we met and you did the interview, I was in Maryland, right? So I moved from Maryland in 2013 back to my hometown, Brooklyn, New York, where I was born. I am still in the hair business, and I am still a natural hairstylist. I've expanded quite a bit, and I'm no longer doing like the traditional salon experience, taking clients, booking clients. When I first moved to Brooklyn, I did do that for a little while, but that wasn't what I wanted to do though. I was really like one of those women, a lot of stylists will say, I want to get from behind the chair. I want to get from behind the chair. And that was me. I wanted to get from behind the chair. I've successfully become a member of the Union for Hair and Makeup on the East Coast, which is Local 798. And I'm working in film, theater, and television now.
I would say I went through a couple of transformations. I feel like that was in my early 30s. So very much still finding myself, newly single, thinking about relocating, just a lot of different life transitions. That was actually when I decided to change my career and move to New York and kind of find a new version of myself. I delved into the fashion industry. I went to FIT and graduated. I did a couple of fashion shows, some runway, some New York Fashion Week opportunities came up, and got to work with some emerging brands under a woman who started a company just for emerging brands. And then I moved to LA, and then the pandemic hit. Here I am. Here I am. So throughout that entire time, I changed my hair so many times. I think during the pandemic was when I decided to just kind of shave it all off and just see how far that got me. And it's been exciting. I actually enjoyed not having any hair. So I went from having a bunch of hair and going through a hair transformation at that time with alopecia to just not really being tied to my hair as part of like who I was.
So I feel like natural hair is always going to be there. It's always going to be women and people celebrating their texture, their hair, learning it, understanding it. There are always going to be people with natural hair, and at one point it was a movement, and I feel like that movement has kind of retracted. It's just not as strong to me. I don't know that the majority of these women are getting their hair relaxed, but I do think the majority of women are getting wigs and braiding their natural hair back and putting wigs on. Like, to me, that's the dominant group.
I'm seeing that there are more wigs that are natural hairstyles that you can kind of manipulate to be your own. So someone who does have natural hair may also put a natural wig on to do some sort of protective style in the interim of, in between their hairstyles, which I think is pretty cool. It doesn't necessarily have to be, a straight hair wig. It could be something that is kinky, something that does look like locks or tries to look like locks. But I think that I appreciate the span that it's gone.
I think I've shifted a little bit on this, because I was like, no, you cannot embrace who you are if you're still putting the creamy crack stuff in your hair. And I don't believe that's the case. I just, there's so much going on in the world, and to affirm whoever you are, whether you're, a plus size or, there's just more self-acceptance and self-love that's needed. So however that package looks, if it's okay with you, then, who cares what anyone else thinks? For me, personally, I'm going to embrace who I am, but I'm loving this part. This is just what God gave me, and I'm happy with that. I'm not, tripping.
I would say yes. I think it's going to have to be on the person's kind of like inner psyche to have that change of relationship with the perm that you're putting in your hair is more of like a maintenance situation. If you're a very busy person, if you don't have a lot of time to do the wash day and the co-wash day and the protective hairstyle, and there are a lot of things and a lot of steps that go into taking care of natural hair. So if you are seeing your perm as a level of maintenance or a time saver, then I think you do have the opportunity to accept and embrace yourself and all these other facets, your personality, how you interact with others, how great you are at your job, how great you are in your relationship, how much self-work you want to do with yourself. Are you going to therapy? All these things can help you embrace yourself and not have a intertwined relationship with your hair if I feel like you're like a super busy person.
I feel like my opinion on that is very, it's not a popular opinion, but no, not to me, not at all. I just want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
It is literally a revolutionary act for a Black woman to just be herself, just to be a Black woman. That's like revolutionary, to show up as she is, right? To show up with her natural textured, highly textured, coily tresses. It's like, wow, for some people, that is revolutionary. It's actually normal to change that. And I know that women have kind of like moved all the way past understanding why they're doing it to, I have the right to do it. And I get that. I understand that you can do whatever you want. You can straighten your hair. You can put a weave-in down to the floor. You can do all those things. You do have the right to do that. But don't skip the why. Don't skip past understanding, like, why do you want to? Why do you want to do this thing that doesn't have anything to do with how you really are? And I always throw this at people too, like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. We can do anything we want. I can bleach my skin. I absolutely have the right to. Does that mean I should though? And so I'm just trying to figure out how to allow women to feel safe enough to have the freedom to do whatever they want, because that's what Black women should have, but also just think about the choices that they're making and understand the why.
Reflecting back, how women were saying how appreciative they were to have a piece like that done, that kind of really got into the root, issues in terms of how our experience with our hair had been since childhood, and the struggle to capture our realness, our wholeness, and to be seen as a whole person who has attributes that may not be like the rest of as the other populations. And so I still think that is a seminal piece of work for women. It was uplifting, and I'm looking forward to more.
I mean, I know that at the time and I'm still very confident in my work. And I do have a standard of excellence with how I express our texture tresses. I can imagine people watching that and it was somewhat, for them, potentially off-putting, but it is what it is. Natural Hollywood is amazing. Anyway, I just appreciate being able to look back at things like that and see my growth as a woman. Yes, I'm still very confident, but it's just in a different way. It doesn't need to be said as much. It just is. I appreciate the opportunity I had to be able to style and serve Black women as a hairstylist, even when I was behind the chair, because it prepared me to be able to style and service actresses behind the chair and on set. And it's the same in terms of you see a queen and you treat her as a queen. And that's what we deserve, nothing less.
Life can take you in different places and you never know. Sometimes you don't think about this particular part of you and how it can shape, your journey along your life. So I'm just now having a flashback of what I looked like while filming, and I miss that hairstyle. I miss that hair, but it also just is a nice snapshot of where I was at the point in my life and where I am now. If folks watch this later on, 10 years from now, my hope is that we're not having to have the conversation around the negative ways that we've been seen in society, at work, in, just anywhere really, just because of how our hairstyle is.
Any last words you want to share with the world?
Any last words? Love yourself. Love yourself, no matter what. If you have hair, if you don't have hair, if your hair is doing something one day and it's not doing what you want to do the next day, you're a whole being. So your hair is not the one and only thing that defines you. Anything on your body, your spirit can define you. How you show up for others can define you. But love your whole self.